Are you ready?
Oh, yeah!
Strap yourselves in for the Gaming Hub. With your hosts, Tyler.
You can't handle the truth!
Graham.
The force is strong in this way.
And Steven.
You cannot be serious!
Let's get started.
Alrighty then.
Welcome everyone to episode 94 of the Gaming Hub. I'm your host Tyler, saying thanks so much for joining us. And I'm joined by our co-host, as always. Let's start with Graham. Graham, how are you today? And, you know, we're recording a day late.
Yes, we are.
You had some issues yesterday. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Wow, I had some serious issues. So I was at work, and first I was planning on like, oh, maybe I'll leave work early because it's a Friday and all that stuff. But things kind of took a turn where things weren't working, so I ended up staying a bit later than I was planning. And while I was working, I was outside on a scaffold, and it was super windy, like really windy. Like there was some things blowing around, stuff like that. I didn't think it was that serious, but oh man, I left, and probably within 2 minutes of leaving where I was, traffic was just so backed up. And I'm like, what is going on? So I listened to like the report on the radio, traffic report, and they're like, traffic lights are out and debris is blowing all over the place. So I'm like, okay, so that's probably why. And then 5 minutes maybe up the road, there was a tree blown over in the middle of the road, like took out a Jeep. And it took me about 4.5 hours to drive what would normally take me 20 minutes. So I was sitting on my ass, stuck in traffic forever. Like, going across an intersection was like I played 2 hours of video game and I beat like a boss or something like that. Like I felt like victory, like so, and that kept on going for a long time. So yeah, I apologize for not being home, but don't blame me. Blame Mother Nature. She was angry. Like winds were raging.
First of all, who would have thought that like the end times would begin in Canada?
I know.
You know, but you know, I will say you passed the test, though, because Graham's committed to the show, and so he's in Xbox Party Chat on his phone with us in his vehicle, like prepping for the show when we still had hopes of getting it started kind of on time, but that quickly became something that just didn't look like it was going to happen. So, but the whole time we're like very subtly saying things to him like, you know, Graham, I really hope you don't have to use the restroom at some point. We're just trying to like put it in his head.
or what are you going to eat, Graham?
Yeah. So, Graham, what did you eat? You acted like you were stranded in a ditch somewhere.
It felt like that. It honestly did. So another thing too, I didn't stop for lunch because, like I said, I thought it might be an early day, so I'll just go home and then I'll have lunch and stuff like that. So being stuck in traffic for that long, so I was rummaging through my van. I'm like, is there something, like some kind of food in here, something that I missed? And I don't know if you'd necessarily call it food, but there was a couple salsa packets from McDonald's from their breakfast burritos. So I'm like, well, that's something. It's not much. So I ate the one packet, and then like after a while, I'm like, you know, it felt like I might have ate something, like I have some like flavor or whatever. So then I ate another packet. So yes, that was interesting. I felt like I sunk a new low because I was scrounging for something.
Yeah.
And I ate salsa
Packets from
Don't
McDonald's.
Don't judge.
So,
I hear you're judging.
but here's how bad it was for you. There was a time where a lady got out of her car, walked to the bank, like made a deposit or something, and walked back to her car, and it hadn't moved.
Yeah, that was
nothing
amazing.
moved.
I felt like if I went by a little like restaurant, fast food, I thought like maybe I could just jump in the van, even though there was nobody in the driver's seat, so that I could be completely abandoning the van and just go get something. But I didn't.
Yeah, it reminds me of the opening scene of the movie Office Space, where they're stuck on the freeway and there's the lady on the walker walking on the side, and she's moving faster than the traffic is.
Yep, there was a lot of that going on.
Yep. All right, so we're happy you made it home eventually.
Next time, Graham, you gotta stream that on Twitch using your phone. Stuck in traffic, 4-hour live stream.
Yeah, there you go.
That would have made for interesting, and I would have definitely made it worthwhile because I would have done some work van karaoke. I know they have like car karaoke or whatever it's called, but I could have done work van karaoke, and
There you go.
I would even took a little request. Might even sang Nickelback. That's how mentally I was unstable.
Hey, speaking of Nickelback, they covered a Metallica song.
Yes, and also I think that was who posted that.
Nick from our group, yeah.
So yeah, Nick from our group posted that, and while I was stuck in traffic. Now normally you don't use your phone while you're in traffic, but when you're not moving for 10 to 20 minutes like at all, then I'm like, well, I'll just see what's on my phone. And then I saw that was there, so I'm like, I'm gonna listen to this, and I'll give it credit. I'll give credit where credit's due. It was really good, and I could tell at the point where the solo was coming in, and the guy's like, there's no way I can do this solo, so we're just going to stop playing right here. But up until that point, it was pretty good.
But, Graham, it's very generous of Nickelback to do that, because there's a band that has a greatest hits album. Yeah. You know, reaching out and supporting a smaller band that doesn't have one yet.
That's right.
No comment.
Anyway, we're glad you made it home safe. And yes. Steve, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well. School is almost over. I'm in the home stretch, so 2 weeks until summer, when I hope I can play some more video games than I have been, because I've not been playing all that much, not anywhere near as much as I wanted to play. I still get some time in, but I want to play 20 hours a week, and I probably play 8, if even.
Yeah. So the seasons are based on your school schedule, because you'll be out in 2 weeks and it'll be summer.
Well, it kind of is. I mean, there's the fall and spring semesters. So yeah, spring semester's over, and then logically the next step would be summer.
That's how I always was when I was in college too. And in high school, summer starts when you're out of school.
Yeah.
It's not on whatever day, June 20th or whatever day it is, right around there. It's always the day I'm out of school, that's first day of summer.
Yep.
And so I get it. As for me, had a decent week. Nothing as exciting as Graham had, thankfully. But
yes.
Didn't get a chance to play a ton. I played some baseball this week, though, in particular Super Mega Baseball, which I wrote a review for on the XboxHub.com. So we are the official podcast of the XboxHub.com. So head on over there and take a look at that review. Super Mega Baseball is available free if you're a Games with Gold member, or if you have Xbox Live Gold on Xbox One. So it's available free in the month of May. But I did write the review, so head on over there and take a look. If you're listening to us on Dash Radio right now, first of all, thank you. Welcome. We appreciate that. And, we're really proud to be part of that platform. And we want to invite you, if you're listening there, to come join our community. There's a lot of different ways you can do that. So we have a Twitch channel. We're going to talk about it in a little bit. But that is TXH Gaming Hub. Head on over there. We do with this podcast live on Twitch and then some other streaming of games throughout the week. We have a forums on Facebook. So look up the Gaming Hub forums. Take part in the community there. When you're there, you can submit questions to be read on the show. If they're read, you're entered to win our monthly giveaway, which we're actually doing on this episode right here. So you'll see who ends up winning towards the end. And you can be that person if you just get into that group and submit questions to be read on the show. As well, we have a Discord, and you can join Discord by heading onto Facebook or onto Twitch and hitting the links there to head on over to our Discord page and join the group there. In Discord, by the way, we've had people ask, what is Discord? Discord's more like a modern-day message board. It's very instantaneous. You can tag people, and it sends an alert to them that they've been tagged in the conversation. It's much less formal. It's a lot of fun. You can jump in and out whenever you want. There's an app for it on smartphones. Really easy to get in, see what's going on in the community, send a quick message, and be out of there, and it's not a lot of time invested. So, really easy way to take part. We encourage you to head on over there and do that.
Yes.
And then, finally, we have Twitter, at TXH Gaming Hub, to follow us on Twitter. And our email, if you have questions that you'd like to submit that way, mail@thegaminghub.net. All right. That's all that. So let's head into news for the week.
In the news.
And we're going to start with Red Dead Redemption 2. They had a trailer come out this week. And we all got a chance to watch it. So the trailer didn't really show anything story-wise that we're going to be expecting, but we did see a couple things. So we're going to see the return of the protagonist from the original Red Dead Redemption. He's going to be in the game. He's not the main character. He's not, I don't even think, playable. But he's there.
Oh, okay.
Yep. This is set before the events of Red Dead Redemption. So he's there. What do you guys think? Steve, I want to start with you. I know you're looking forward to this game as much as I am. So did it increase your hype level? Keep it the same? What did it do?
Well, I'm trying to keep my hype level to a minimum. Otherwise, for the next 5 months are going to be miserable. Because I'll be only looking forward to this and not want to play any of the other stuff I want to play leading up. So, it didn't really change my hype level. Like, I'm excited for this game. I can't wait for it to come out. The trailer was just like kind of cool. Didn't really show much gameplay wise. I was kind of like not really wanting to watch it because, if it did show, I don't want anything spoiled for me for this game. I'm pumped. I loved the first one. So I'm super excited for it. So, I mean, my hype level hasn't changed. I'm trying to keep it to a minimum and just not even think about Red Dead Redemption 2 until like October. And then be like, oh yeah, Red Dead Redemption's here. Yay! Type of thing,
Yeah.
you know?
You know we're going to talk about this game a ton during E3, though.
No, we're not. It's banned.
So, actually, we might not because Rockstar generally doesn't take part in E3 very much. So, they generally, they're there, but they don't play a real big role. So,
Like,
Graham,
not even the year of when the game is being released?
not too much. Like, there was a little bit of stuff for GTA 5, but generally not a ton. So, Graham, you're new to it. Like, I think you've played maybe, an hour of Red Dead Redemption?
Yeah,
So-
a few hours, not a lot.
So what are your thoughts on it? What you saw? Is it because earlier you were kind of like, well, wait and see on whether I'm going to get this. What are your thoughts after seeing the trailer? Did it change your mind? Did it do anything? What are you thinking?
I'm still on the fence, and nothing has like pushed me to one side or the other. I definitely get the hype of it, and first of all, it's a Rockstar game, and I don't know the last time Rockstar made a bad game. Like, some people weren't big on the LA Noire thing. Like, maybe it's kind of too experimental or something like that. But, like, given the setting of it and the type of game, there's no doubt in my mind this game will be amazing and people will love it. But as far as me, like I said, nothing's really pushed me over the edge yet. It all depends on where I am at that point, like gaming wise. If there's still a lot on my plate that I want to work on, nothing's pushed me towards getting it. But yeah, watching the trailer, it looks like it's going to be such a good game. So many elements are being introduced to it that I'm not sure if the first one had it. But like I said, it's been how many years since the last one? Like, the last one was on old gen, right? So I couldn't just imagine the beauty of it, and it's probably gonna be in 4K and 60 FPS. I don't know if there's anything official on that, but I'm sure the landscaping is gonna be amazing, and like the engine, like with the horse, because I just see it just being such a well done game because it's been in development for a long time. So I'm gonna try to get through the first one, and I don't know when, maybe the summer when I get some downtime. And I got a feeling when I play that, then it's probably going to help build hype for this game. As far as like the characters go and all that stuff, like I said, I don't know a lot of that, but I'm sure this game is going to be phenomenal.
You'll learn more about the characters when you play the first game.
Yeah.
Which isn't even really the first game, because there was Red Dead Revolver before that. But IGN did a thing this week, so I want to give credit to them, because they're the ones who did it. But they got a chance to see about 45 minutes gameplay, and this isn't going to... So I'm going to talk about some of the observations they had. It's not no story spoilers or anything like that. Just some kind of cool little things that they saw that are included.
Yep, bring it on.
So your horse, you have to tame your horse, and you have to develop kind of a bond with your horse. The stronger that bond gets, the more your horse will trust you, and the more that they'll follow your instructions without kind of letting instinct take over, fight or flight, so to speak.
Yeah.
But, so like that, for example, if you're crossing a river that the water is a little choppy, and you've built that bond up strong, the horse will keep going, whereas if you haven't yet, the horse might try to turn back. And if you're in battle, the horse, if you've built that bond, will continue riding through that battle and trust you. Whereas if you haven't, the horse might take off and run. Also, the stronger the bond is, the further away your horse can be when you whistle, and it'll come.
Yeah.
So, the problem is, though, your horse can die. And if your horse dies, you have to start that all over again with a new one. So they were telling a story about how they were watching somebody play, and they discovered their horse was bleeding out, and they thought they had, like, the first aid kit to help heal the horse. They didn't, so they literally sprinted towards town to buy it and come back because they've invested so much time in this horse. They get back and the horse was dead. And they were, like, crushed. So,
Yeah.
like, Steve, I know one of your friends that you spoke to that never finished the first Red Dead didn't finish because their horse just fell off a cliff. It was gone.
Yeah, it was like a thunderstorm or whatever, and they were, in that, if you played the game, you might know what I'm talking about. Right as you go into that first town, you're like, you kind of come across the mountain, and then you can go down to where the first town is.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, his horse was up there. It was really early in the game. I'm surprised he just didn't start over. But his horse was up there, and he was down there. And I don't know why his horse was up there. But, there was a thunderstorm or something, and the horse, like, ran. And he just ran off the cliff and died. And he was like, screw this. I'm not playing this anymore.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I could understand that. That's really a silly way for your horse to die.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And if that happened, especially in this new system and setup, I'd be kind of pissed. But there's other things, too. So if you walk through town and you have your gun in your hand, the people in town will interact with you accordingly. They'll hide. They'll run away. They'll try to avoid you. Whereas if you have, like, your shotgun strapped on your back or your pistol holstered, they will come up to you and interact with you.
Yeah, that's
And
cool.
That's really cool, I think. Hunting as well. You got to do some hunting in the game. So you can hunt with your rifle, but then the meat and the skins are worth less than if you kill it with a bow.
Yeah.
Because the bow is a cleaner kill. The meat will also deteriorate over time. So you strap this thing, whatever you kill, to the back of your horse, and over time that meat will deteriorate to the point where it's worth nothing, and you'll actually, I think, get sick if you eat it.
There was a game that did that. I can't remember which. It was one of the open world games, obviously. I'm trying to think.
Survival.
It might have been Ark Survival. Yeah, it was. You had raw meat or whatever, and if you didn't cook it, it spoiled faster.
Yeah, it spoiled real fast.
Yeah, but I think there was another game, even not Ark Survival, that might have done something similar. I could be wrong.
It's possible because it seems to be more of a common thing now.
I mean, it makes sense. It's just there's certain aspects of realism I don't want in a video game necessarily, and this one is getting close to that. You know how, like, all right, so if you think about it, I saw a funny little post the other day on Facebook. It was like, if you're mad if your video game character can't jump, right? Well,
Yes.
but in real life, like, how often do you jump? Like, the only times I jump is when I'm playing
True.
sports. I never jump.
Yeah.
Well, if there's a stupid stump in my way and I want to get on the other side of that stump, I'll jump that stump.
Yeah.
Right, but you're not, like, just going around, like, jump running to, like, in a lot of games, jump running is, like, the fastest form of movement.
Yeah.
You're not
If I do
jumping.
that, that's not normal. If I walk
No,
on the street
it's
and I'm
not.
running and
No.
jumping.
No.
skipping.
You'd probably have people recording it. Look
Yeah.
at this idiot.
Yeah. It would Graham, it would probably be your most watched YouTube video. You just wouldn't know it.
Idiot
But-
running up,
Yeah.
jumping.
But you know what I mean? Like, there's certain aspects, like, and I'm not saying this is one of them. I just mean, at a certain point, like, I need a little suspension of disbelief to make the games fun.
Well,
Right?
Steve,
Like in Call of Duty, you get shot and then you recover 10 seconds later by hiding behind something. I like that because, I want to play the game. So,
Sure. But here's something, Steve. So this might cross into where you're at. So full disclosure, I'm an animal person. I have, dogs and all stuff, and I like animals. So hunting's part of the game. Like I said, when you take your bow out and hit a deer, with the arrow, the deer will fall down and the other deer around it will run away. So the deer that you hit will then get up and limp after its, the the rest of the deer, its family or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you track the trail of blood until you come up upon the deer writhing on the ground in pain, like literally screaming out in pain, and then you have to decide how you're basically going to finish it off.
Mm-hmm.
So that might cross, Steve, for at least some people, into the realm of a little bit too real.
Yeah.
But
the thing is, people want the realism and stuff like that. So
it's not going to bother me. It's a video game, right?
Well, people want the realism until the points I'm mentioning. They just don't necessarily think about it.
Yeah.
There are certain games that, like, what's it called? Like, certain things that if was included in a video game would be really annoying. Even though, I'm going blank in my mind right now. There are certain things you don't want in a video game without thinking about it, but you would know as soon as you played it that I'm like, oh, this sucks.
Well,
like,
for
this should not
example,
be a thing.
For me personally, I hate having to craft weapons. I just want to be able to pick up a weapon off the ground and use it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, go ahead.
Would you like to see this in like settings where you can like manipulate and change all this stuff, or like do you think that's possible?
No, it's not going to happen in a Rockstar game. I can almost guarantee that. But
or different modes maybe, so it's not like a setting. Like you have like survival mode. You know, like follow it as you have.
Yes.
So even like that thing where Steven was talking about like food spoiling and stuff like that, like that would fall under the category I would say is survival, right?
Yeah, it should. But I don't think that'll happen in this game.
Yeah, I don't either. But I would like to see stuff like that, like the spoiling meat thing you mentioned. Like that is a survival aspect. Or like realism, if you have to, like in Fallout, you have to sleep, you have to eat, you have to drink water in the survival mode. Like, that gets annoying. And I understand that there are people that want to play that way. There are mods for Skyrim that made it so if you were not, like, you would die of exposure if you were not bundled up because of how cold certain areas in that game were. Like, you had to wear certain outfits to be able to go farther in. And I know Breath of the Wild had areas where you had to have protection from, the fire or the heat or the, the cold. And that's fine. But I don't want that whole game based around that one thing unless I choose to have it based around that one thing. In which case, that's where I would like to see like a survival mode.
Yeah. So, now, I think you're too smart to just push you guys. You have to play it this way because you don't want to like segregate it, like have people like Steven's like, I don't want to play this game because of that. So I think they'll find a good balance.
Rockstar's super good at that. Like in Grand Theft Auto 5, you could do as much or as little of all the side stuff as you wanted. Like you didn't have to take part in certain types of missions if you didn't want, as long as they weren't part of the main story. So you could kind of play how you wanted, do the things you like doing, and then Grand Theft Auto Online made that even more of a thing. So the really interesting thing will be to see how they integrate the online service into, Red Dead 2, because I can almost guarantee you that we're not going to see Red Dead 2 online months and months and months later after launch like we did with GTA. That's going to be day and date with the launch of the game. So it'll be really interesting to see how they do it because, set in Los Angeles or their version of it, really easy to create an online world there and have a lot of stuff going on. I'm interested to see what they have in like the OS setting that still makes it, something that players by the droves want to play and honestly drop money into. So I'm excited to see it. It comes out October 26th, and I think we'll see more of it at E3. And if past Rockstar games are any clue, we'll probably see it at the Sony conference. And I think we'll probably get, if it hasn't been announced already, there'll be like time DLC that comes to PlayStation first. So that's
that would suck.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because I'm buying this on the Xbox because the Xbox One X does 4K better than the PlayStation 4 Pro, and I have both. I mean, it's just facts.
Yeah.
Don't at me. But.
At.
But I I'm not worried about this game at all. Like having like annoyingly realism things. I was just talking about in general. I think we're seeing games go the route of trying to get as realistic as possible, and I think eventually we're going to see games that go too realistic to the point of annoying, and then it's going to be brought back, and they're going to find the balance, the perfect balance, and we're getting close to it. Definitely. If, you know, the Fallouts, the Skyrims, but especially Breath of the Wild was like a very good balance of realism and like fun, because, you know, you could climb anything, which is unrealistic, Graham. But, you know, food only lasted a certain time, or whatever. And then, you know, the exposure. So I'd like to see the survival, like, realism aspects worked on. But I don't think we're going to have an issue here. And I'm excited for this game.
So, Graham, when's the last time you thought about playing Destiny 2?
Destiny what? Oh... You know, there's been times where I'm like, maybe I'll play, and I'm like, no. It might cross my mind for just a brief instant, but then it's like an instant no. There's really nothing pulling me back to that game, which is unfortunate because nobody likes buying games and never playing them.
Correct. And, you know, like, what was that game? The Division?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So, Steve, you were really excited for Destiny 2, correct?
Yeah.
Like before it came out.
I was.
And how much lately have you thought about playing it?
There was one time a couple of weeks ago where I was like, I'm bored. Destiny. Then I was thinking about what that actually entailed, and I was like, nope.
So
I just thought of doing a strike, and I'm like, no, that sounds fun, because I mean, not fun, because I already done them 5 million times, and nothing really has changed.
So, the Warmind expansion is coming next week, or this week, probably, when you're listening to us. And, you know, that's here to save all of that for you, even though it's probably not going to. But you're going to have new environments to play in, so you're going to play on the polar ice caps of Mars. Exciting.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. So, new enemies, new environments, another strike, all that type of stuff. My question, it's in a new weapon, Valkyrie, a powerful javelin, I guess. So, my question isn't on whether or not Warmind is going to bring us back into Destiny, because it's probably not going to. Let's just be honest about that. But the rumor is that they're using this expansion to set up for Destiny Year 2, or Destiny 2 Year 2, in September. And they know, Bungie knows, they're not dumb. They know that they've lost a lot of their player base of this game. And this is a question more for Steve than Graham, because I don't think there's really a whole lot that's going to bring Graham back in at this point.
No.
But, Steve, for you, what do you need to see in the Year 2 expansion? Now, take out all the games coming out this fall. So don't think about, it doesn't matter because I'm going to play, you know, Shadow of the Tomb Raider and Red Dead 2 and all that stuff.
Can't wait.
So
Kingdom Hearts 3, you forgot the best one.
Yeah, when it comes out in 3 years. I know. So, what will Destiny 2 Year 2 have to be to get you excited to go play that game again?
That's kind of a loaded question. A little bit. I have no idea. Like, I did the raid a few times. I did it more than you, Tyler. I think I beat it 3 times. You beat it once.
Yeah,
maybe
right.
twice.
Once.
I didn't do the second raid, that smaller version. We played when the first. I don't even want to call it an expansion, because it feels more like DLC came out.
Well, it is DLC, but they call it an expansion.
Yeah,
so.
Just to get more money, because they did the same thing they did in Destiny 1, just with the names changed, because apparently they think we're stupid. But apparently we are, because I bought the damn thing. So, you know, I can't complain. I don't know, man. I want to, like, try this game again when Warmind comes out, and I probably will for, like, a weekend. Like, give it a good college try again. But I don't know if it's enough. There's got to be something repetitive. It was so repetitive, I think, is what my issue was. Like, we just kept doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again. Was it not, Tyler? and it was just like it felt more like a chore than like a game.
Well,
so,
the problem with games like this is, at least for me, like, if I'm going to play something, if I'm going to play a game over again or an experience in a game over again, it's probably more because of the story around it that really grabbed me rather than just the gameplay and whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
But the end game with a game like this isn't like a story payoff, it's stuff. It's getting another weapon or a new type of gear or whatever it is. So you're doing the same damn things over and over and over and over, hoping that this will be the time that I get that weapon I want. Or this will be the time that I get, that helm that I need, or certain piece of armor that I need. And there's no guarantee that you're going to get it. You could do it 25 times and not get it.
Yeah, and that's the issue, I think, is you're getting close to it. Because I was thinking, like, Diablo 3. I played a lot in the end game of Diablo 3. And I know that's a whole thing in and of itself. I know a lot of Diablo fans didn't like Diablo 3 compared to Diablo 2. But the end game, like, yes, you were looking for, the new helm or the new chest piece or the new shoulder armor or whatever, or the new boots that you needed. But it was fun because you constantly got drops. Like, you're probably getting like a legendary drop every 15 to 30 minutes, depending on what you were doing. But it was also like you'd go into the Nephilim rifts, right? And every rift was a little different, and they'd have different enemies placed. But in Destiny, the only way to get stuff is by doing like the milestone. I forget even what they're called. I think they were called milestones.
Yeah, they're milestones.
So you do 3 heroic strikes, and now you can get one drop. Then what do you do for the rest of the week? Like, you can't have a game that relies on you could do everything in one day, minus the raid, unless you got really good at it. And a lot of people did, and a lot of people were beating the raid really quickly. There's no variety. Even so, you were just doing the same thing over and over to get a chance at a piece of armor, and then you're like, okay, I'm putting the game off to the side, unless you were playing multiplayer. But I didn't like the multiplayer in Destiny 2 that much. So I don't know. I'd like to see maybe variety, and I don't know if it's easy to do, and I don't think it would be in the strikes to add different enemies and different bad guys at different points in the strike, because it kind of messes with the story a little bit of the strikes. Mm-hmm. So it just doesn't feel like they learned their lesson from Destiny 1.
No, they didn't. And you know what we're gonna get? We're gonna get Battle Royale, probably. At some point.
That's a safe bet.
Yeah.
That might be their Hail Mary, and then I'm never going to play that game again.
Yeah, but I want to see the quest lines come back like they were in, I forget which, like, full expansion in Destiny 1 it was. Where
Taken King?
Yes, that one. So if you want a specific weapon, like, here are the things you need to go do, and then we can go do those together because we all want that thing. And it's a long, the quest lines are not long, or they're not short, they're not easy, but it's something else to do that has a point. Yeah, but not to the same extent, and not with the same type of payoffs. It was different in 1, and I liked it better in 1. My other problem with 2 is that it's too damn easy to level up. And I know what they're doing, and I get it. They're trying to get, more people feeling like they can play the end game. But I shouldn't be able to jump back in. Like, Steve, we can jump into Warmind this week, and if we played it, twice a week, probably in 2 weeks, we'd be up to the next max.
No, because we didn't make it to the max level
of
the last one.
Let's assume we were, but we didn't play it that long.
We played 2 weeks. It would probably take more like a month and a half.
Okay, but playing twice a week.
Well, doing all the milestone things.
Sure.
Once you do the milestone things, you can't really. You don't have a chance of getting the higher tiered stuff. So.
But that's the thing too. There's really no, unless you just like doing the raid over and over and over again. It doesn't. There's no real payoff. There's no reason to keep going and playing every day. And I don't know. I mean, unless you really like online, and their online actually isn't bad. Their multiplayer is fine. It's just I like other multiplayers more. Well, so if I'm in the mood to do that, I'm gonna go play something else.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, but their campaign, like when we three of us were playing it, we just wanted to get through it. Like I didn't really enjoy the campaign. I don't know about you guys, so I feel like you need to revamp the campaign as well.
I'm with you, Graham, and I don't know if you remember, but I remember when we were talking, and our whole sell to you, Graham, was like, well, don't judge this game by the campaign because the real game is the end game.
Yeah.
And how much did you have fun in that?
Yeah.
I had more fun getting to the end game, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that don't say much.
No. So, Graham, let me ask you this question.
Sure.
If you had to pick right now
Uh-oh.
between these two games, and you could only play your choice, that's the only game you can play, between Destiny 2 and The Division.
I knew you were going to choose those two.
Because those are the two that probably turned you off the most that we all got. So, which one would you pick and why?
You know, I think I would choose The Division. The Division. Just because it's less, I guess, fantasy and stuff like that. It's more, I don't know, human battles.
Realistic.
For lack of better words, more realistic, I guess, and more tactical, I guess, if I want to use that word as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, more instead of like just keep shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting, and eventually that enemy will die.
Yeah.
So I think I would choose The Division.
Well, The Division has that.
Yeah, it does, but not to the extent of Destiny, in my opinion, anyways. And with the updates too, and the DLC or whatever for The Division, I hear that it's a lot better. Nothing has brought me back to retry it. I feel like you failed, so maybe I'll try again in Division 2. But
Well,
I don't want to be like, fool me once and then fool me twice, because then I look like the dumbass. So
well, you already got fooled with the Division. I mean, with Destiny 2.
Yeah, but
you didn't play the first one
with the same franchise.
I know.
But yeah, like I'm definitely going to. I'm not going to pre-order it right away. I'm going to see when the game comes out and see how people are taking it in and stuff like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So go ahead.
I can answer that question. Yeah. I would also choose the Division. And, you know, maybe now's the time we all, like, go give it another chance. Because I have also heard some really good things about, like, the current state of the Division. And I'm not, like, maybe I'm looking at it through rose-tinted glasses. And, you know, I had some fun with it. I just didn't love it. So maybe now's the time we go back and give it another go, like, over the summer when there's not much else to play.
Well, this brings me to another game I want to talk about. And it might seem like a weird comparison, but bear with me until I get there.
We will.
So Destiny 2 versus a game like Sea of Thieves. So how they're similar is that the people that are complaining about Sea of Thieves, they think that game is about getting all the stuff. Right? So it's about getting all of the, special shovels and compasses and the shit for your ship and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And then the first thing they saw was that there wasn't a lot of it at launch. And just like we talked about on the show, Rare's probably going to support that, pretty regularly, and they've already put more stuff in. And they're going to continue to do that throughout the summer. So, but Sea of Thieves to me, and that's a game actually that I want to get back into with you guys and play. But Sea of Thieves to me has some of those experiences that just pop up randomly that are memorable to us either because they really piss us off, like when we have certain ships chasing after us over and over, or they're just super awesome and fun and just really spontaneous stuff. When does that happen in Destiny?
It doesn't.
Never.
That's part of the problem for me.
Yeah. Do you remember the promises of I remember the preview. I read a preview from Destiny 2. I think it was from IGN. Mm-hmm. And it was talking about how he was doing a story mission or whatever. And then all of a sudden, like, a public event dropped down. And so he started doing that. And then, some random people came and joined him. And then, like, they were shooting the enemies. But then the enemies from the public event were shooting the enemies from the spoiler mission. It all felt like a really cool thing. And then when we played it, that happened never. Yep. Maybe once, but I can't remember it happening very often.
But there were never those moments where you're like, holy shit, that was amazing, you know, and you want to like hit, you know, Xbox record that.
Yeah.
And all that type of stuff. Like, it's just, I don't have those moments in that game, and that's what makes my interest wane over time. Because even if we were doing kind of the same thing and there was a lot of repetition, because there is a lot of repetition in Sea of Thieves, but we'll get those moments in Sea of Thieves that are just really fun like that and have us laughing and or frustrated beyond belief, right? Yes. But at least it's something that we can talk about, and it's a memorable moment from that time that we played.
Yeah.
Whereas
you're right.
Yeah, Destiny doesn't have that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I really want to like it. It's not one of those games that I really want to like.
Yep.
But I can't. And I enjoyed it a lot early on when it first came out. Like, Bungie does shooting mechanics very well. So from a like mechanic standpoint as a shooter, it's really good. But there's not enough there to keep me coming back. In the story mode you guys were talking about, God, like half the time I didn't even know what the hell was happening. No. I'm just heading towards the next little marker, you know, and shooting stuff along the way.
Yeah, and that's why, like, Graham, did you play the DLC with me or with us, or was it just me and Tyler?
I think it was just you two. I think I downloaded it. I might have actually.
That the DLC story was somehow even worse.
It
like
was.
I was like, you guys were like going slow, and I'm like, let's just do this. Come on, hurry up, skip everything, get to the end. Let's just be done. It's
the pretty much.
Over and over and over and over and over and over again.
As it was the same. Yeah, the same environment, the same shit constantly. Yeah, I remember how bad that DLC was in terms of the story mission. So yeah, I still have high hopes, like I said, but I'm not optimistic anymore that we're going to see something dramatically different. And especially now, if I let you consider all the games that are coming out this fall, it's going to be really tough to get my attention back.
Yep, they're going to have to do something crazy.
So Destiny 3, you guys don't seem like you guys were happy with the first one or the second one. Will you guys get the third one? Like, will you say right now, I will get Destiny 3?
Yes, I will, because that's what I do. And
I know. I will as well, for the same
plus,
reason.
Graham, like, I'll say this. Part of it's a blessing and a curse. Like, we do this show, right? So I feel, and I think we all feel, like we sort of have an obligation to be sort of up on most of the games that are going on.
So we can blame our listeners.
Yeah, so
that's fine.
No, we're not blaming the listeners. But between the three of us, we end up getting almost everything.
Yeah.
And what that results in, though, is that there's way too much damn competition for our time between all these games. So if it doesn't keep us, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck getting us back. So, I mean, there are some dead times during the year, and we're about to enter one where there's just not a lot. But I see myself playing other games than that. But we'll see.
Oh, yeah.
But no, to answer your question, Graham, I'll get it, because that's what I do.
Okay.
I'll buy the stupid thing, and then we'll bitch about that, too.
Yes, we will.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So, all right. Another game that has kind of taken the world by storm and still is super popular is Fortnite. And none of us have gotten that big into it, but this week marks the launch of Season 4, with the meteor finally hitting and creating the giant crater on the map.
Finally, eh?
Yep. So, I don't want to get too much into the game, although I think Steve said he might give it a shot again. And Steve's probably the best shooter player out of the three of us. Maybe. It's close.
It's not close.
It's really not, but that's all right.
Listen, I'm good at shooting arrows in Breath of the Wild, so I don't know.
Yeah.
That's shooting.
So, well, if we ever get an archery game that has multiplayer, Graham, then you'll carry us. So
I'm your guy.
But my question is this: like, how much has the fact that game is free to play helped? You know how huge it's become.
So much.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I knew it would get bigger than PUBG, and not just because of the free-to-play thing. I thought the style was just more conducive to more players. Like, the realism part of PUBG, I was like, all right, people like that, but the cartoony thing and, like, the cartoony over-the-top, I think a lot of people like that, especially the younger audience, and it's free to play, so that just raises the player base. And then I've heard from a lot of people, I mean, I don't play the game, and I do plan on streaming it tonight for those of you watching us live right now. And those of you that are not watching us and catching us later, you can catch us on, or you can catch it on the YouTube channel. I'll upload it to the YouTube channel. Yeah. And that's, TXH Gaming Hub for Twitch and for YouTube. So head over
YouTube's
there.
YouTube's the Gaming Hub podcast. Or
the Gaming Hub podcast.
Yep.
My bad.
There you go.
I always forget. But it'll be up there. You can watch the misery. That is that. And, maybe if I, because I can see myself getting addicted to this game if I give it a chance. So I'm scared of that because I have so much other stuff I want to play.
So Steve, are you going to be more frustrated if you get addicted than you will be if you hate it?
Yes, I will be more frustrated if I like it.
But I agree with you though. I think the nature of the game, the more cartoony feel, I think it appeals to the casual gamers and more kids than sort of the look and feel of PUBG, even though they're similar in a lot of ways. But they're different in a lot of ways too. There's that building aspect in Fortnite.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Plus, I've seen moments in Fortnite that are those holy shit moments that, like we just said, we didn't really get in Destiny. I'm sure other people did, but we didn't. So I think all those things combine into not only making it, a game everybody plays because it's free, but also a game that people love to watch on Twitch. And when you look, most of your biggest streams are Fortnite streams, and it's helped. It's very cyclical. Like, the popularity of the game drives the streams, but then the streams drive the popularity even further. Because people see it and they're like, what is this? Like I talked a few weeks ago about, somebody I work with, she's not a gamer at all. And she got into Fortnite, started playing it, addicted. She's finished second in some Fortnite matches. Because she literally just goes and hides.
That's impressive. I feel like that's what my strategy might be because I've never finished that high up on the board. So
yeah, she showed us. She sent screenshots. She finished the second, but now she follows all these Twitch streamers that play Fortnite. And on lunch at work, she'll go watch people play Fortnite.
And that will be us now. So
yeah, it'll be Steve, and we're very happy that Steve has happily volunteered to take that.
As a
one
team,
time.
It's a team. It's a team effort.
Yeah, but now you're going to get addicted to it, and you'll be doing it 4 nights a week. And your silence indicates that that's a possibility.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So,
I'm definitely looking forward to watching because I really don't know much about this game. I know it's like PUBG with building aspect. So I've never really watched a match and stuff like that. So I'm definitely looking forward to watching you play, Steven. And maybe it'll get me I would just want to try this. I know I'm not going to do very well, but I just to try it out just to see what's up with it.
Finals week is 2 weeks away. How are you going to do this to me right now? Try and get me addicted to a Fortnite, okay?
To an incredibly addictive game? Yeah.
Yes. This is not very nice.
So, you'll be fine. All right. So anyway, the Season 4 started this past week. So if you're a big Fortnite fan, I'm sure you've seen the news already about the meteor in the crater and all that stuff. But if you haven't, jump back in and play. So, all right. Now's the time. I don't know if you've seen the articles or not, but console sales are actually slowing pretty dramatically. And I think it's just because of where we're at in the cycle.
Yeah,
especially on the PlayStation side. Because they released the Pro in 2016, right? Late 2016. So we're looking at a couple years now. But Xbox One sales are up 15% year over year, which is outperforming industry average at this point. So that's some good news for them. And it's probably largely due to the One X. But what I
think the One S, maybe.
Maybe that too. But what I'd love to see is how many, and there's really no way to quantify this unless people tell you, but how many of those One X purchases are from people who didn't have an Xbox before but have a PlayStation? And how many of those purchases are just people that are upgrading? their Xbox One to a One X.
It'd be nice to know that, but there's no way of knowing.
Yeah, there's no way of knowing.
We can speculate, but there's really no way of knowing.
So,
and the only way we could tell is if we could look at like older exclusive games like Halo 5. If we saw Halo 5 purchase numbers, and if that's up, then we'll know that it's people that came from the PS4 more than likely, or it's going to give us more hint at that. And if Halo 5 sales hasn't changed at all, like hasn't gone up, then it's probably just people upgrading.
Well, plus I think, and we've talked about this, but it's more about the games than it is about the system. You can have the greatest system ever, but if there's nothing to play on it that sets it apart, what's the point?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think they're really hurting right now for seeing games like Scalebound get canceled, games like Fable, and their mistake was trying to do Fable Legends instead of a proper, like, Fable 4.
Yeah.
But having those games canceled, those games would have been out in this interim to help bridge that gap. But
I know I was like the only person that was looking forward to Scalebound.
Well, out of the three of us, but a lot of people were.
Yes, a lot of people were.
But that one still hurts every time I see that being mentioned, because I know a lot of PlayStation fans like to be like, "Hey, Scalebound." I see that a lot in the PlayStation groups I'm in.
Yeah,
and it's like cuts me deep.
Yeah. Well,
I wanted that game.
Microsoft did say this week that they're going to have Japanese developers on stage at their E3 conference.
See, I have a feeling it might get brought back.
They still own the name for it.
Yeah, and
they renewed the license for it.
If they still have something like gameplay wise, it's better to use that than to start all over. I think that could be a thing we see this E3, and then I'll be super happy and excited and yay.
Well, I'm going to tell you, the closer we get, because we're now 5 weeks from right now is the first day of the conferences. So, as we record this, but Microsoft's kind of gone radio silent on a lot of things the last month. We haven't had a lot of big Xbox news.
No.
And the longer that continues, the more I think they're going to do something absolutely huge at E3.
I honestly think it's going to be something huge. I don't know if it's the optimist in me, but I feel like they have to, and I feel like the stars are kind of aligning, like that's what's going to happen. So I'm definitely excited for it.
Well, I don't know if the stars are aligning, but they're kind of backed into a corner now where they have to.
Yeah, the stars are being forced to align.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't say how.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
So
we are the stars, and we're causing it to align.
Yeah, so they have to have something gigantic, and I don't think it can just be, like, it absolutely cannot be more backwards compatibility shit, even though that's good. Like, that's great to have, but it can't be the biggest thing you have. And I really don't think having third-party arrangements and agreements is going to be enough either. So, at least not, like, timed DLC ones. Like, if you get an exclusive, that's big, but I also hate that. Because I hate taking games away from other people. But I see something gigantic coming this year. So we'll see what it is. But on the note of backwards compatibility, guys, playtime on Xbox One for backwards compatibility is nearing 2 billion total hours.
That's a lot.
So how many of those are you?
3.
Yeah. Like, I haven't done a ton with it, I'll be honest. I really haven't.
Me neither. I'm trying to think what was the last one I've played, and I don't really know actually.
Was it Red Dead? Like when you gave that a go?
I think I played another one since then, but not much. It's been quiet. I played a little bit of Skate 3, I think.
Okay.
But not a lot. But that's awesome. That's great. Options are amazing and appreciate it. So I like the idea that I could go back and play these games anytime, especially games that I already purchased. So it's not like, okay, I gotta hook up this other system to play this game. PlayStation, get your shit together. But it's great, and it's awesome to see that it's actually getting support, because they'll just keep more games coming. They're like, well, this is actually, people are taking advantage of this, so let's give them more.
Well, I think too, and Xbox deserves some credit for this, but they very quietly kind of become the system that if you have the console, for not a lot of money, you can get access to a lot of content. You know, between backwards compatibility, if you already own these discs from last generation, or you can go to, you know, GameStop and get them for like $5. And also with Game Pass, EA Access, for not a lot of money, you can get access to a lot of stuff. So, yep. I mean, that's something that they've done kind of quietly. They've kind of built that case, and I think they deserve credit for that, because Sony doesn't have that.
Well, they needed it, though. That's the only thing keeping them afloat.
It is
the fact that people can play a lot of their old stuff along with their newer stuff on one console without needing 4 consoles or 3.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I've played a few games. I've probably played more than 3 hours, probably closer to like 10, now that I think about all the games I have. But there's so much new stuff coming out that like the old stuff is like, all right, it's nice to have you, but I have the new stuff I need to play through first. And for those of you who have listened to the show, know I'm really, really good about beating all my games that I play. So...
So, well, you're going to be...
If you've actually really listened, you know that is an absolute lie.
Yeah.
I'm very bad at that.
Well, we know you're going to beat God of War.
We do.
And,
we do know that.
And we're going to hold you to Far Cry, because you started a Far Cry series on YouTube.
Yeah.
So.
That one's questionable. That one's questionable.
See, this is why
try.
This is why I did the MLB The Show series, because easier to finish.
Oh yeah, 162 games are so much easier to finish.
But like we talked about, you know, I'm probably not going to have 162 episodes on there of it, so we'll sim through some games and then play one, and sim through some and play one, and it's a little easier to do. So
yeah,
you can't do
God
that.
God of War, because it's, you know, a 10 is in my front running of game of like what I'm gonna be concentrating on. Yeah. But yes, Far Cry 5 will eventually be finished. Probably not though. No, it will.
It will.
This summer, even if it means
string you up if you don't.
Even if it means sprinting through the story, you'll get a finished story of that.
By the way, just after watching the Red Dead trailer, doesn't that have a feeling of, because Steve, you mentioned God of War got a 10. Doesn't that have the feeling of a game that's getting at minimum a 9.5?
No, it's getting a 6.3. Calling it now.
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
No.
No, it's probably going to get a 10. Rockstar is Rockstar. Honestly, anything under a 9 is a disappointment, to be honest. For that game, and to me, like, it's not going to stop me from playing it, but you know, at this point, aren't we kind of expecting perfection? And maybe that's a little unfair, but is that not the expectation of like everybody?
It is
the expectation. For Rockstar games, yes.
And I call it right now, it's going to be between 9.6 and 10.
No, it's going to be a 10.
Leaning towards 10.
It's almost guaranteed to be a 10, at least from IGN. Then there'll be, you know, a website that gives it like an 8 just for clicks. But, you know, if you want to talk about ethics, we have an episode like 3 or 4.
Go back a few episodes. Go back a few episodes and we get into that.
So I feel like the top 3, without thinking too deep into this, is going to be God of War, Red Dead, and Spider-Man.
And Kingdom Hearts 3.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Spider-Man to me is a game that could easily get like an 8.5, but still be really fun.
But I didn't mean it's going to be... I'm not saying it's going to be a 10. I just think that's going to be the big 3.
For games this year? Yeah, I mean, you got Shadow of the Tomb Raider is going to be there.
Yes. I forgot about that one. My bad. And
you're going to see there'll be something else this fall that's a huge release. You know, Bethesda's going to have something.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. And I think there'll be an Xbox game this fall. They have to release something.
And
I still think
not
potentially a Bethesda one.
Yeah,
maybe. I still think you're probably crazy there. What's that? Crackdown 3 is not going to be the game this fall.
In fact,
we're going to get one game this fall that has a potential of being really good.
In fact, my question for you guys now, real quick, Graham, is
go ahead.
Not when is Crackdown being released, but when are we going to hear that it's canceled?
Well, Phil Spencer said on Twitter, and it wasn't that long ago, it was maybe 3 weeks ago, he said the game's still going in development. I don't think it's canceled. I don't think they can cancel it. If they have a great E3 that shows a lot of games coming soon, that's the only way they cancel it. Is if this E3 they have like 6 games coming out by next E3.
But what if it's it's still total trash? Then what do you do? Do you just make it games with gold at launch as a goodwill?
Yeah, I mean you kind of have to. Yeah, that's like the only thing they can do, right?
It looked really bad. I mean, not really bad, but really underwhelming. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, not even my boy T. Cruz can save it.
No,
that's the sad part.
Well, and he's not even really in the game. He just did that like thing for it.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, not even he can save that.
Nope. So
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Another big game too that potentially could come out this year, we don't know, is Cyberpunk 2077. So
potentially,
like I hear,
I still don't think we're getting it this year, but
maybe not. But you never know. I think people, when they saw what Bethesda did with the Fallout 4 and thing like that, I think some companies want to mimic that, because like they like when they can surprise people or like catch them off their guard. And I think they saw that that's what Bethesda did, and they're like, let's do this if we can. Like, I don't know if we can.
Yeah, but remember, we're still supposed to get Skull and Bones this year. It hasn't been delayed yet.
No.
From
wait for it though.
Ubisoft.
You know who it's from.
Yeah,
it will be coming.
So that delay, they'll probably announce at E3 a release date of, I don't know, probably. So here's the thing: if it's a November release date, we're screwed. It means we're not getting it this year, because it means they're backing it up to give them as much time as they can. Mm-hmm. If they show a September, early October release window, that at least shows some confidence in the game being done. It'll still probably get delayed, but then what'll happen is they'll delay it till November and then delay it into next year.
Next year, yeah.
Yeah.
That seems to be a going trend.
Yeah, so either way, we're probably getting the game spring of next year. But as of now, it's supposed to come out this year. And I'm hoping Ubisoft just surprise us once by having it ready. And they actually did that with Assassin's Creed, didn't they? That game did not get delayed, did it?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
But
so they've got one in a row.
I can't fault them though. No, they did. Well, Far Cry got delayed, so no, they don't, because Far Cry came out after.
Damn it! So they're hitting 500 the last two.
But I can't really fault them for delaying games that much if the game comes out good. If the game gets delayed and comes out like a dumpster fire, then then I can complain. But Far Cry was pretty good. It's a good game. Assassin's Creed's a good game. Even the Fractured But Whole, I have not played because I have not beaten the first one. Surprise, surprise. But you guys liked it. So, like, you could complain that they delay games, but at least they're coming out good. Whereas some companies, sometimes use Sony, delay games and it still comes out like hot trash. So...
Well, yeah, Last Guardian.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, but...
Yeah. But just don't make commitments to your fans that you're not going to keep even really half the time. That's my thing.
Yeah.
If you're not sure, just say, here's our release window.
Yeah. Or what did they do? December 31st, 2018?
Yeah, right? So.
But was Rainbow Siege delayed, or did that one come out on its release?
I don't remember.
That was like 5 years ago.
And Wildlands.
Yeah,
right?
let's
not.
Like...
Yeah, but I forgot about Wildlands until you just said it.
Yeah, so I don't think
all I remember about Wildlands was like, and Steve, I wish you were on the show then, because when they did the Wildlands demo, like Steve could have played along, because they had like these gamers and they were all on mic, and all they did was talking like the army lingo, for like doing a tactical mission, and it was like. It was like, what is this? But,
yeah, I'm like, who's the drunk of the group? Neither one of those guys are drunk.
No. Yeah. So.
Yeah, if it's not, and I've seen there's a guy on YouTube that's really funny, and he does like really funny videos where he pretends like he's like in the army or whatever, and talks like that, but it's hilarious. But if it's serious, then that's just cringe-worthy.
Oh, it
and I
was
don't even
though.
like
Like, they would take out somebody, and then they'd literally get on there, and in a serious voice, they'd be like, "Tango down."
Yeah. See, that's ridiculous. But
And-
if it's tongue-in-cheek,
Yeah.
then it's funny. But, yeah.
It was not tongue in cheek.
I don't think it was, the way you make it sound.
No, it wasn't. And that's what made it funny. It was kind of like the Nintendo Switch announcement thing was not tongue in cheek either, but it was so cringe, like just awful.
Yeah, well, that was
That
more
it was
just,
funny.
I think, cultural differences and translations. That
Yeah,
make it funny.
which make
Yeah.
it funny. Yeah, no,
and
for
let's
sure.
switch over to the next topic.
Yeah. All right.
So funny. I love
I
that.
know.
God.
I love
And they
that
always
so
snap their
much.
fingers. It was just the best.
Switch.
And they didn't just snap their fingers. They held their hand over their head
Well, you had to
and
see
snapped
it,
their
man.
fingers. Oh my
Had to
god,
see
it
it.
was
I
so
love
bad. Like, I couldn't even focus on how great the system looked because the rest of it was so terrible. But all I was doing was laughing. It was like a mix.
Just snappy.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was like watching an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Like, you're laughing, but at the same time, you're like so embarrassed for what's happening that it's uncomfortable. But anyway, so Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Yes.
I know.
Please give it now.
And
Please,
Graham,
please.
when you get it, you're going to get it in 4K and 60 frames per second on the Xbox One X.
Oh, I cannot wait. That's gonna look so good. Like this game, like the environments, kind of like God of War. Like when you're not in a freaking cave, which is, well, we won't get into that. Anyways, yeah, even like the last one, Rise of the Tomb Raider, it was I don't know 1080. I guess it's 1080. I think it got 4K textures, which I've never played. But with this game, true native 4K 60 FPS. I'm sure it's gonna be HDR. It's not saying that.
It will be.
But this is going to look stunning. Like, the climbing of the environments, I can't wait. I'm so excited for this game.
Yeah. And, you know, Steve, you need to go play Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah, and you can
You
do it with
just
the
do.
4K
Yeah.
update.
Like, that needs to be one of your summer games, like, for sure. But, because it's a pretty special game.
Yeah, like,
And-
it's almost been long enough that I could replay that game right now, and I would still
Yeah.
enjoy it.
And I might,
Well,
too.
see, I need to play it soon because what happened was, I mentioned this before. You know, I got the Tomb Raider, the first Tomb Raider game, like when it was on sale, and then the second one came out and it was on sale as well. So I bought it because it was like cheap, like $20, I think. So it was pretty late, and then I was like, I'm gonna play through the first one so I can play the second one because I've heard good things about the second one. But by the time I was done with the first one, I was kind of like a little burned out of it. And then so I started the second one. I'm like, I don't feel like doing this right now. So I need to play right now so that by the time the third one comes, I won't be burnt out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You know, I
maybe
was
right
just,
after God of War, I'll do a playthrough of
There
that.
you go.
well, I was
or-
just thinking that you do like 1, 2, and 3 for when 3 comes out. Like, that would be, I feel like that's what I want to do because
And you do that, Graham.
the story
That's
does
all you.
continue.
It does.
Oh, I'm sure it does. I said I got burnt out after doing the first one into the second one. I don't want to do a video series of 1, 2, and then 3.
I get what
That's
you're
too
saying,
much.
Steve, because I get the same thing. Like, it can be completely awesome, but if I just reached that point where it's diminishing returns, right? And,
Yeah.
you know, so you need a break from it so you can truly appreciate it when you go back to it. But anyway, when it comes out in September, it's one of the first major releases. I always consider the fall season to start with Madden, the last week of August. And I think Shadow's just a week or two after that. So that's pretty much going to kick off the big launch season, and we'll get like Forza Horizon around that time and some other stuff too. So,
Just in time for my super busy fall semester.
yep. So that is on the way. It'll be 4K and 60 FPS. So for Xbox One X owners. All right.
Yes.
So a couple weeks ago, we talked about a top 25 Xbox One games article that had been published, and we each gave our top 5 for that system. But now we're going to talk top 25 PlayStation, because that was put out as well. And I'm just going to give you the top 10 from that article, just like I did. This was off of IGN. Top 10, like I did with the Xbox. So number 10 for them, Rise of the Tomb Raider, which, by the way, I think was, number 5 for Xbox One? Somewhere in there?
So.
Number 9, Grand Theft Auto 5, which, by the way, was number 1 on Xbox One. Number 8, Persona 5. Number 7, The Witness. Number 6, Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. Number 5, The Last of Us Remastered. 4, Horizon Zero Dawn. 3, Metal Gear Solid 5. Excuse me, The Phantom Pain. 2, Bloodborne. And number 1, The Witcher 3. So, some very different games on there, mostly exclusives. Mm-hmm. But even some of the, like, third party are in different order.
Yeah, I wonder what's up with that.
And it's probably a different person writing it.
So, if I may, I think you were looking at the older version of it. I have the new one that came out. I think you shared the wrong one. Apologies, because the one I see was number 10 was Grand Theft Auto 5, 9 Shadow of the Colossus, 8 Uncharted 4, 7 The Witness, 6 The Witcher 3, 5 Metal Gear Solid 5, 4 Persona 5, 3 Horizon Zero Dawn, 2 God of War, and 1 Bloodborne.
Okay, yes, that's the one that was just done. So my bad. Yeah. My apologies, everybody.
Yours was the one by the staff, though. So that's
You're forgiven, Tyler.
That's the reason. So, I mean, honestly, that one might be the better one to go off of, though, because that was written by staff. Mm-hmm. So, like, they were all... Whereas this one that I just said was written by one person. Yep. But to be honest, it's all just personal preference on which your top games are, and as we'll see based on our top 5.
Yeah, and I think the point, though, is that, you know, look at where some of the games that were, like, number 1 or in the top 5 on Xbox landed on that list. Like, nowhere... I mean, they're still in, like, top 10, some of them. But nowhere near the, like, rarefied air that they got on the Xbox system. And it all comes down to exclusives. We've said many times. We're in a cycle right now where Sony's exclusives are far, far better. And let's go through our own top 5, though, for PlayStation. So, Graham, let's start with you.
All right. Coming in at number 5, I have Rocket League. Then I have Last of Us. Then I have Until Dawn at 3. 2 is God of War. And 1 is The Witcher 3. Now, I picked The Witcher 3 for the Xbox as well. So there were some other ones that was on my list that could have been on here, but I figured I had to lean towards PlayStation exclusives. But to be honest, I have not played a lot of PlayStation games, but the ones I have played, I've quite enjoyed. The PlayStation has always been my God of War system. It's the only reason I bought a PS3. I bought a PS4 because it was a really good deal, but there was no game that really wanted me to buy it. And then I got the newest PlayStation 4 Pro because of God of War. But I know if I played Horizon Zero Dawn, this would probably be on my list, but I haven't played that game yet. Same with Uncharted 4 because it's kind of a Tomb Raider type game, which I'm sure I would enjoy. But I haven't played those, so these are out of the games that I've played.
Okay. So yeah, I was going to say, like, before you send the hate mail to Graham for Rocket League being on there, like, it's just what he's played.
Yes.
So, you know, I'm sure if you played, you know, Bloodborne or something like that, that might, you know, take that spot away.
Yeah, no,
sure.
100% right. Yeah.
But yeah, or like Horizon Zero Dawn, which I think you would really, really like, actually.
Yeah.
But all right, I'll go next because Steve, I think you have the most experience playing games on PlayStation out of all of us. Yeah. So, number 5, Witcher 3. Well, for me, it was a game that, you know, it's one of those games where it's like it's not totally for me, but I realize that I'm playing something really good, and I can recognize how good it is. Number 4, Horizon Zero Dawn. Number 3, The Last of Us. 2, Bloodborne. And 1, God of War. So, Steve, what do you have for your top 5?
All right, well, my top 5. Number 5 is Horizon Zero Dawn. Number 4 is Bloodborne. Number 3 is my Homer pick, Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5 HD Remix. Number 2 is God of War. And number 1 is Persona 5. I mean, okay, I could switch any of those 5 games around. I understand why Bloodborne's number 1. to me, it's the spiders that keep me. I'm a little girl when it comes to that.
They're not
Don't
real.
even me.
It's
Well,
a
I
video
didn't
game.
That was probably a little sexist. I don't like spiders. They creep me out, man. The big ass spiders. And I mean, I have a couple scary stories. I live alone and adventures in killing spiders that kept me up at night. Not good. Not good. So I know they're not real, Graham, but it's the one reason that will keep me from playing Skyrim VR. There is no way I'm going to face spiders in virtual reality. No way.
Not even for the viewers that would like to see that.
No. Unless they want to hear me scream.
Because now you're going to get a
loud.
request for that constantly. You know that,
Yeah.
right?
I do.
Just wait
Everyone
till
requested.
wait till Arachnophobia the game comes out.
Oh gosh, no.
And
No,
we've
I
been
don't-
talking about doing movie casts, and I guarantee you just got Arachnophobia to be like.
You know what's funny though?
thing.
I don't mind them in the movies. I've seen Arachnophobia and I've seen the movie Spiders. They don't bother me. The spider in Lord of the Rings and the spiders in Harry Potter
Shelob.
don't bother me.
She has a name.
It's only Shelob. Sorry. Hey, you know what's funny? Shelob in Shadow of War didn't bother me either.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is. But it's only like playing the games where.
What about the spiders in Diablo?
No, because it's the camera angle that doesn't bother me.
Okay.
It's only like the first person aspect. That's why I'm not gonna lie, when I played Skyrim on my PC, I had the mod downloaded where it changed all the spiders into bears and got rid of all the spider webs. Okay?
That's funny.
Because bears are less scary than giant spiders.
God.
To me.
Still to me the very best mod ever done, and it's just funny as hell. Was in Skyrim where they made the dragon, the Macho Man Randy
Man.
Savage.
For sure.
I don't know though. There's a lot of Skyrim mods that can compete with that. The Thomas the Tank Engine mod was also really funny.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good stuff with the modding community for Skyrim and Oblivion has done, or
And Fallout.
Skyrim, yeah, the Bethesda games have done some great
Yeah, they
things.
have.
Amazing.
Really
Amazing.
funny.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because there were Macho Man Randy Savage mods in Fallout 4 with the
Deathclaw.
Death Claws. Yep.
Yeah. It's just great. Like, who would think of that?
I don't know.
But thank you, whoever did.
Yes, I saw it and I just couldn't stop laughing the whole time. Like, I couldn't even seriously play the game. If that happened, I would just laugh. So,
Oh yeah.
I know. So, what I want to point out here, we each gave 5 games, so a total of 15, and 12 of those 15 are exclusives.
That's true.
So,
Yeah, eh? Somebody was doing math.
yeah, I was. Pretty hard math, too. But doesn't that say something about the state of where each console's at? Because it was nowhere near that high on the Xbox side. Nowhere near. Maybe half. Maybe, I think it was probably a little less than half. So, what does it say about the state of exclusives right now? And then again, like, if you had to pick one game that Xbox is going to come out with this fall that we haven't seen announced yet, and Forza Horizon does not count, because we know we're getting that, what would it be that would make you say that's the one that's going to put Xbox back in the game?
Well, they could do like a Rise 2 and try to make it like God of War.
Yes.
And I'm actually surprised they didn't try to make Rise 1 like God of War. It just seemed like it fit that. Because I mean, it was the same time period, basically. Romans instead of
Yeah.
Greek.
Well, you know what? You know what Rise was originally, though, right?
No, what?
Rise
was
was originally a Kinect title.
Oh yeah.
So and that's why there's so many QTE moments in that game. So they had to adapt it, and that's why it was what it was. Like, the game is absolutely beautiful. It looks great, but it's not all that fun to play. It's very
It's really
repetitive.
short.
Yeah, it's
really
super
short as well.
Yeah, I couldn't get through it.
So I like that idea,
It's
though.
super short, but Steven still couldn't get through
I
it.
know. So,
It's too repetitive for me.
Yeah.
It never made me want to go back. And it was funny. I like the story too. I just the gameplay was like, ugh.
but yeah, I like that idea. I think that that's a good, that's a direction they could go, and it's a franchise they already have. so they could rebrand it sort of and make it like God of War.
Yeah, no,
Do
that's
that.
a great
That'd be
answer.
great. Yeah, Graham, how about you?
I'm gonna go with Fable 4 because
Okay.
this is a game that people have really enjoyed, and it's right from the OG Xbox. So it's got the nostalgia. It's been long enough now that they could do like a revival, and with the type of game it is, you could pretty much introduce anything to this game. So like this could be what Xbox could like be the closest to rivaling God of War. Like I wouldn't say it would rival God of War,
Yeah.
but it does set up for that type of environment or gameplay or even like storytelling. So there's not a lot of options, but that's the one that I would choose. And I think Steven had a great answer as well with Rise 2.
Yeah, for me, there's two franchises that PlayStation has, well, at least two, that Xbox really has no answer for, and that's Uncharted and God of War.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they really have no answer for those two.
I disagree a little because you can play Tomb Raider, and that is that's a pretty good like close game to
Sure, but that's available on both.
Uncharted. I know
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
It
I'm
is,
saying
but
from an exclusive standpoint. Like, things
Not
that are going to
time
sell your
exclusive.
console. Yeah, things that are
Yeah.
going to sell your console.
Horizon Zero Dawn was a great concept, and I think that's
Yeah.
what Xbox should try to get is
Yeah.
a game similar, like an open world game like that.
Yeah, like I think they tried that with Recore.
Yeah, they did a little.
A little bit.
Not
that
even
game-
anywhere close to as good though.
But that game was good though. Like I don't know why it fell like short or stuff like that. Like I don't even know if everybody gave it a chance. It was like one of the cheaper games.
it was
but-
repetitive.
Mm-hmm. You know what
Yeah.
franchise I would love to see them bring back? Is Alan Wake.
Yes, but that's another shooter.
Well, but
I
it is,
honestly
but it
think
isn't. It's not a shooter in the sense of like what we've come to kind of expect out of Xbox. Because even like Quantum Break was very much, a shooter in the spirit of Xbox, whereas Alan Wake had a lot of other elements to it.
It did. It had the Luigi's Mansion type combat.
Yeah, and it was a very different feel to that game. So
I did beat that game, so yay me.
yay. So
That's how you know it was good.
I would love to see them bring that back, and Remedy made Quantum Break instead, and Quantum Break I think is slightly underrated. Like it's not bad, but I think their time would have been better spent making, a proper Alan Wake sequel. But I don't know if we're going to get it from them because Remedy takes a long time to develop games. So that's what I'd like to see though, to have them come at it. We're not getting anything like that this year, I don't think. At least unless they're super good at keeping secrets. I think the best shot we're going to get is Halo 6, if that's announced. So
I don't think that's enough either. I'd like to see an RPG. A Lost Odyssey 2 would be a good start.
yeah, and I agree with you though. I don't think Halo 6 is enough. Halo 6 is going to appease current Xbox owners.
Yeah.
But if Halo was going to get people to transition from PlayStation to Xbox, it would have happened already.
Yep.
So
Same with Gears of War and all that,
Yep.
and Forza.
yeah, so I don't see that being a huge difference maker, but it will do a lot to sort of appease the current, console owner base that they have. So, all right, that's going to do it for news. Let's head into releases for the week,
Now in stores.
and let's start with Xbox. So, for Xbox this week, you can get Conan Exiles on the 8th. Death Road to Canada, which I think we announced on this show a few weeks ago, and I think just got like a last second delay. Also
Yeah,
on the
must
8th.
have.
And then Destiny 2 Warmind, like we talked about, on the 8th as well. Games with Gold, you can pick up Super Mega Baseball 2, May 1st to 31st, available right now. Again, head on over to the XboxHub.com. I wrote a review for that game there. But it is free and it's worth the download, especially if you like sports games. It's pretty good and it's a lot of fun. So, also, Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, which was on that list we just talked about. And that's available starting on the 16th of May. So, that's it for Xbox. What do we have for PlayStation?
Well, all the games you mentioned are also coming to PlayStation, but on top of that, we also have AO International Tennis on the 8th to kick off the release of a bunch of tennis games that are coming out, and Darkest Dungeon Ancestral Edition on the 8th. For PS Plus games, we have Beyond Two Souls and Rayman Legends available for download. Graham, what do you got for Nintendo?
Okay, well, on the Nintendo side of things, you can get Shantae Half Genie Hero Ultimate Edition available May the 8th. And then also on May the 8th, you can get Raging Justice. And then on the 10th, we have Immortal Redneck. Now, there's some other titles in there, but those are the top 3 that I chose. So choose wisely.
All right. So with that, let's head into questions. Before we head into questions, actually, we were originally going to record on Star Wars Day.
Yes.
But
And,
Mother Nature
May the
had different
4th.
plans.
Thanks,
Yes.
Graham.
Yes, the Sith came in and
Yeah.
blew high winds at you to keep us from doing
The
that.
dark side was very strong.
And you know why they did that, Graham? Because you spent May the 4th watching Marvel movies and not Star Wars movies.
Yeah, but it's by Disney, so it's in the same universe.
It's the same family.
Yeah, so
Yes.
Okay.
I'll allow it.
All right, so quick question for everybody, just in honor of, Star Wars Day. Which Star Wars movie... So let's say your top 3. Top 3 Star Wars movies.
Oh, movies.
Yep. And why?
Why?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Yeah, please. Somebody.
Obviously, number 1 is Episode 5. Okay, that's not a question.
Yep.
That's just how it is. Number 2, Episode 4. Say Episode 4. This is tough, though. This is tough. Number 2 and number 3, because number 3 is Episode 8. So that's my top 3. But I could switch Episode 4 and Episode 8 as my favorite. But Episode 5 is by far the best Star Wars movie, and it's not close.
Okay.
You
I'm
go,
with you.
Tyler.
Want to
All
say
right.
why?
So, no, you don't need to say why. For me, Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars movie.
Yes.
And next I'll go Episode 4. And... Man, I guess I'll say Episode 8 as the next one.
What a copycat.
I know, there's a couple others in there that can challenge it, but I'm not that big on Return of the Jedi. I think it has a nice payoff at the end. And
Yeah.
it's a very rewarding conclusion to that trilogy. But just some of the story aspects and the Ewoks and all that I'm good without. We could get into a breakdown of the Ewok movies, the made-for-TV movies, which I'm sure Graham has seen and has probably heard of before now, actually, but in
Sure.
truth, not at all.
This is me shaking my head.
Yeah.
If you guys can't see me, which you guys can't, it's me shaking my head.
Mm-hmm.
Graham, have you watched the Star Wars Christmas special ever?
I didn't even know such thing existed.
Oh, it's must watch because it's so cringeworthy. It's bad, but those would be my top 3. So, Graham, I'll give you an out here because
Thank you.
you're not the biggest Star Wars fan out of all of us, right? But
Oh, exactly.
yeah, but here's what I'd like you to do instead: explain to everyone the order that you watch these movies in.
Okay, kind of a tragic story, because it's one of those things where you can't unwatch it. Once it's done, that's it. Unless you can give yourself amnesia, which I've tried a couple of times, just hurt my head. No amnesia. So, obviously, growing up, I knew Star Wars was a big deal. I didn't know how big of a deal it was at the time, but I moved away from Newfoundland, and I moved in with my brother and his girlfriend, and they had the original, 4, 5, and 6. So I'm like, I'm going to see what this is all about. And I don't know how, maybe being naive or just expecting the VHS. This is how dated this is. Back in the VHS days, they had the trilogy there. So I'm like, I'm going to watch this and I'm going to see what it's all about. So I watched the first one. I'm like, yeah, this is really good and interesting. So I'm like, I'm watching all 3 of them at once. So now I watched the second one, and I'm like, okay, I followed the story of the second one. I know what's going on. And then I put in the third one, and lo and behold, Darth Vader's alive again. I'm like, what is going on? So first I was thinking, okay, maybe this is like you go back in time and stuff like that. Some movies are. Nope. I watched them in the wrong order. I watched 4, 6, 5. So
I mean, Grant, weren't there questions at, like, when you started watching 6, weren't there questions in your head, like, how did Han Solo end up in this thing on the wall?
Yes,
in
that's
this
actually
palace?
true. Now that you mention that, yeah. Because I'm like, maybe they're going to go back and explain it. Like, maybe I was just open-minded. Like, I'm just going to watch these 3 movies and just piece it together. And maybe it's really deep where you got to, like, come up with the story yourself, which maybe I did. And yeah, no, I was definitely just thrown for a loop. And after I realized this, which I don't know exactly at what point, because like smartphones weren't really that popular then. I don't even know if they were around. And yeah, and I couldn't undo it. It was already watched. So tragedy.
It is, but like there should have been some hints there that something's not right.
Listen, like I said, I was very naive. I didn't really know the story and stuff like that. So
all right, fair enough. So it makes me a little sad that, you know.
Yeah, I feel sad too.
Well, and not just that, but that you're not as big of a Star Wars movie fan as the rest of us. You like your Lord of the Rings, and you really like your Harry Potter.
Yes.
We're not going to get him started on that. And more importantly, we're not going to get Steve started on that.
Yeah.
So
you guys are about to get a fight here.
So, all right. Let's move into questions.
Fan.
And Steve, what do you got for us this week?
All right. Well, first let's go to our winner because we hadn't. We
yes.
have to do that before we forget. So our winner. Thank you guys. Thanks everyone for asking questions.
Yes.
As we do a giveaway once a month, you can go on our Discord or on Facebook to ask the questions every week, and you're entered for a chance to win. And all those links are on Twitch. So if you go to twitch.tv/TXH Gaming Hub, you can find the links to all that. So you can, have a chance of winning.
And if you're listening to us on, iTunes or whatever you used to listen, in our show notes we have links to all of that stuff there, including Discord. So just click on that as well. It'll take you right there. So go ahead, Steve.
Yeah. But our winner is Tony24313 on Discord. So send us a message, and we'll get you your code. Tyler, you want to tell him what he has won?
Yes, if my mute button would work. We're gonna do a code for, since it's Star Wars Day, or it was. Yeah, we're gonna do a digital code for Star Wars Episode 8: The Last Jedi. So. And if you already have that, then we'll hold it for another day and get you something else. But that's the prize to begin with, is Star Wars Episode 8: The Last Jedi on digital for you to be able to watch. So congratulations. And yes. Steve, what's his question?
So yeah, he also has the first question, and he said, if you could take your 10-year-old self any game from this generation, what would it be and why? And that includes, like, you're showing them if you bring in a 4K game, you're bringing your 4K Xbox or PlayStation and the TV as well. So, who wants to go first there? Right?
I don't seem like everyone.
Crickets.
Yeah, no, I can real quick. So I'm trying to think, like, when I was 10, the games that I was playing a lot of, and back then I just kind of really liked sports games more than anything else. So one of the big ones I was played was Madden, and I could easily say, I could give the answer and say, like, I'll take, Halo 5 back, or God of War back, or, Legend of Zelda back, and all that stuff. But my 10-year-old self would be like, that's okay. Because I wasn't really into those games at that point. But, so I'd probably take the latest iteration of Madden back to show myself, because, whenever you're playing, like, a generation, especially, like, once the PlayStation 2 and the OG Xbox came out, I remember you walk into stores and you're like, God, that looks just like the TV broadcast. And now we go back and we look at that and we're like, man, that's terrible, you know? So to see what it looks like today and compared to what those games looked like at that point would be pretty amazing, I would think, to the 10-year-old version of myself. So that's what my choice would be. Graham, what do you say?
Well, this is a tough question. So I'm just gonna go with one. I'll say The Witcher 3, just because it's so ahead of its time, and I want to just see if I could make my brain actually explode when you go like, and I think if anything, that would do it. So I would just do that, just use myself as an experiment to see if my head would actually blow up. It's a bit morbid, but you know.
Do you realize that? Do you realize that if your 10-year-old head blew up, you would die instantly?
Yes.
Wow, that sounds even cooler.
Okay.
Graham, this is a family show.
Yeah. And we can't go searching for another host. So no. All right,
Well,
Steve.
It'd be tough
I'll
to
go
replace.
next. I think I'd choose Breath of the Wild because there's so much to do, and I think my 10-year-old self could handle it. But you know, you did bring up a good point, Tyler. My 10-year-old self would probably appreciate MLB The Show 18 more than anything else, because that's what I played almost exclusively. I remember the one game I had when I was like 10 was, you know, Harry Potter Quidditch World Cup, and I played the shit out of that game because it's like a sports game set in the Harry Potter world, which was awesome. And that was like my jam until high school was when I started branching out. So, or a little before that, but so yeah, I think my 10-year-old self would appreciate MLB the most, but I still would be hard pressed not to bring him Breath of the Wild.
So honorable mention though on that list would be virtual reality.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Skyrim and VR.
Yep.
Minus the spiders, because then I would die.
That might blow my mind.
So, yeah.
All right. So you guys, next question.
Yep.
Next question. Let's go to the next question. All right. So D's on Discord. I'm not going to finish his full name. Asks, what 5 things do you think every gamer needs to experience?
Things or like games?
I think things. So that's how I kind of crafted some of my answers.
Okay.
I mean, I'll throw a couple out. I don't think we all have to say all 5 at the same time or in one shot. But virtual reality. So that's one for sure.
Okay, you said that, Tyler. Let me ask you, your PSVR that's in a box next to you, have you taken it out and experienced this that every gamer needs to experience?
Well, I've played PlayStation VR before, Graham.
Okay, that's not the question.
Well, your question is flawed because the box is not next to me.
Okay, yeah.
Ooh.
The box,
Correct.
the box is in my bedroom.
Okay, can I reword it? Has it been taken out of the box yet?
No. But no, I do think that, you know, I've played the Batman game on VR for PlayStation, and it's pretty sweet. So to get that experience, I think everybody should at least try it. I'll throw out a couple others. So Kinect and the original Kinect, just so you can appreciate things like VR more, to see kind of how far it's come. And I think, you know, the other like thing I would call out would be probably like Wii Sports, just to see that technology, because that was kind of the game that got everybody into that technology. As far as games go, man, that's really hard. I don't know how to like sum that up into just a couple. Like, one of my favorite franchises of all time is Halo, so maybe I'd say that. How about the Nintendo Power Glove?
I own that, and
Did you?
I never ever used it.
Oh, really,
never
Graham?
Never got it to work.
Really?
Like they kind of like showcased it for like Mike Tyson's Punch Out or whatever, but I could not get it to work. I didn't have any games that worked with it. It was a Christmas gift that I got. I don't even know if I I asked for it. But I got that, and my brother got Game Genie, and Game Genie was amazing. And I had this stupid Power Glove, but I thought it was really cool, but I could not get it to work. Like it was frustrating, and I don't know what an experience with the Power Glove would feel like because I never got to experience it.
Did you have the pad? I forgot what it was called, but it was the pad that you could like run on for like track and field. Yeah.
No, I never had that. My friend had that, and that thing was really cool too.
Yeah,
that game was hard.
But
the running pad, I think, was called.
Yeah, I mean they were pretty original with their names, but
yeah.
So, but my favorite accessory for Nintendo and maybe any system ever is still the Advantage controller for the Nintendo. Like that behemoth thing that's like the size of a keyboard today that you put down, and it's got, you know, the bigger buttons and the turbo on each one. So like if you're playing like track and field, you know, you're just pressing A over and over and over and over and over to run. Like you just turn turbo on and hold A down and you win every race. It's like the greatest thing when you're a little kid. And it's got the joystick on it, so that was my favorite. But anyway, we're going off track with that question. So Graham, what 5 things would you say?
Okay, well, me, I've not experienced VR, but I have like a little bit, but nothing like big. I think everybody should experience VR just to see what that has to offer, and just I think everyone should experience that. I would say, as far as things go, definitely, if you haven't, which I'm sure most people did, is complete a story-driven game from beginning to end, just to get the satisfaction of actually completing it and knowing the story and feel like you contributed to that story. I would say, I don't know, play some sports titles if you guys haven't played sports titles. Especially online when you can play with like friends or something like that, because it's so satisfying when you like do teamwork together and actually like beat some other people or maybe AI and win a game, or even if you guys are like a couch co-op, like it's fun, man. Like I really enjoy it. I haven't really done it in a while now, but I used to love playing that, especially if you got like a younger kid or a younger brother or something like that. Like it's fun to play. Like show them your games that you play, and when they get into like hockey, that's my example because I'm a big hockey fan. But I played with my nephew and stuff like that, and you can play on the same team or team up against his father or whatever like that. So that's great. What else? I'm not quite sure. I would say this more like for games, but you should definitely experience a Zelda title. The different types ones too, like maybe on the 3DS. Especially one of the first ones, I think, for the 3DS, because it incorporated, the DS, what the DS can offer, like how it's got a mic and like touchpad, and they really incorporated those games with that system. So if you own that system, then this game kind of shows you how you can utilize that system for that game. And stuff like that. I don't know any other ones off the top of my head. I'm sure I'll think of other ones later, but I'll let Steven take it from here. Steven?
Well, see, I have more games that you need to experience because I can't think of any like extra stuff that you need to experience, as I've never experienced VR. Though Wii Sports was something that I think everyone should play at least once, because the bowling was so addicting and really fun, and they're actually good motion controls. And honestly, I'm surprised they haven't released the Wii Sports for the Switch, considering you have the Joy-Cons and they act like the same thing. So we'll see if that ever happens. But, you know, a couple games off the top of my head would be, I think people need to experience Kingdom Hearts at least once. Like Disney and Final Fantasy being crossed over, like sounds so ridiculous, but it works absolutely wonderfully, and it's really fun, the game. You should experience that. I'd say Breath of the Wild, another game that just pushed boundaries and let you do anything. It was like the perfect open world game that set you on a path, but it allowed you to deviate. So it gave you something to do, but you could deviate from it. And then I'll just say one other. Kerbal Space Program's a game I think everyone needs to play or try at least one time. The game is amazing. You have to actually it's like realistic, because you have to have a certain amount of thrust to weight ratio to get your rocket to fly. You can't just use a little tiny engine to get your rocket up. It's really interesting considering how like realistic you have to actually think to succeed in the game.
I feel like we're having a different type of conversation here.
You had to go there, Tyler. You just had to go there. Just couldn't let it go.
Sorry.
Let it go.
Well, I said I can't think of experiences. I said
No, Steve. That went right over Steve's head.
Yeah. Don't worry. We'll explain to you later, Steve.
Yeah.
When you get older.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
When you're old enough to understand, we'll talk to you.
now I'm sad. That took the wind right out of my face.
Sorry. Well, here we go again.
The next question.
So.
All right, next question.
Next question.
Stan, does it feel like cutscenes are longer on this generation of consoles?
I'll answer real quick first. Yeah, because they can be, and they can be better. I think, I like that they're moving more seamlessly into them and out of them though, without long loading times and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because you think back to games, and oftentimes the cutscenes either started or ended a level.
Yes.
And now
Halo's a good example of that.
Yes, Halo's a great example of that. So now they're much more seamless within the game, and I don't know. I don't think they take away from it so much. I mean, I get that some people might feel like there's actually less gameplay going on and more cutscenes, but one of the biggest things is just having a really good story behind the game, and if the story's there, people are going to like it.
Yeah.
So that's me.
See, I'll go next.
Yeah.
I play a lot of RPGs, so I haven't noticed any change because RPGs tend to have a lot of cutscenes. And on the 360, like Final Fantasy was notorious. I remember there was like a good 40 minutes of cutscenes in a row. Final Fantasy, I think it was 13, the first one, in the early parts of the game. So I can't say that they've gotten that much longer, but I do think they've gotten better about cutting in and out. Because like God of War transitions, they're not cutscenes. They're just, you go from playing to not playing and the movie starts and then you start playing again. There's no cut out. There's no cut in and no cut out. So I don't even want to call them cutscenes because they're not. But I don't miss the days of unskippable cutscenes right before a boss. That was notoriously difficult. Looking at you, Kingdom Hearts back on the PS2, there was a extremely difficult boss with like a good 5 to 10 minute long cutscene right before. That was unskippable. And I died so many times that I never beat it on the PlayStation 2 until it became skippable in the later releases. So I know that was not entirely the question that was asked, but I don't feel like they're that much longer this gen. I think they're better though.
That would drive me nuts. So if you had to go through a cutscene, because some games, even for me and other people, where you just repeatedly die at the boss. So if I had to go through a 5-minute cutscene every time, there's a good chance I probably wouldn't finish it either, because that would drive me absolutely crazy. But yes, cutscenes are longer, but it's not to the point where like this is way too long, because graphically they're just so well done and it looks so good that it kind of gives you a break too. Like if you're like, maybe if it's a button mashing game or something like that, where okay, now I can have a little break, or maybe I can like drink some water or something and watch a cutscene. So I welcome cutscenes like this. I also do like in God of War how they're not really cutscenes, and I'm sure we're going to see more and more of this. But I do enjoy the cutscenes, and yeah, with the power of the consoles now and stuff like that, they can be longer. But yeah, like they don't affect me. So
Steve, I'll tell you one where I find the cutscenes to be maddening is Monster Hunter World, where we can't like pair up with somebody.
Yeah, until
after the cutscene.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, man. I think we'd still be playing that game if that type of thing wasn't the case.
I don't think that's cutscene's fault. I think that's just the gameplay.
No, yeah.
Stupidly,
yes.
Like the multiplayer,
like
it should be seamless.
It should. Like, and this is where like Destiny deserves credit. You can do anything with somebody else.
Yep.
So we've now kind of been spoiled / trained to expect that. So when you take us 5 years backwards, and that, it's frustrating. And that's what I feel like that game did, because there's a lot of great things about that game that I really like, but that part is really frustrating. So, anyway, what do we got? What else do we have?
All right, next question comes from Nick. It says, how bad does everyone go through withdrawals when they can't play for a few days or a week?
Okay, it's not withdrawals because, as Tyler mentioned earlier, I've actually been working my way through all the Marvel movies, and I pretty much got them all done, so I can watch Infinity War tonight. So I've actually haven't played much video games for this week because I've filled it in with Marvel movies. But there is times where, like, especially like God of War, Breath of the Wild, when they come out, and I just want to play it. And say if my week has been really busy or been a lot of late days, but fortunately for me, I'll stay up till 3 a.m. or something like that, so I can usually get my fill in. But I'm bad for too. Like when I travel, like say if I go Newfoundland for maybe Christmas or something like that, I really don't like being bored. So I'll bring my Xbox with me, and I'll bring my Nintendo Switch, and I'll bring my 3DS, because I'm like, I'll play all these games, I'll do this. And basically, maybe one day of the 2 weeks, I might actually take it out and hook it up and play something. But I'm always worried about I'm going to be bored or something like that. So as far as having to go that long, I usually don't. And I have my iPad and stuff like that. There's always something I can fill the void in. But yeah, when a good game comes out, like I just want to go home and play it and spend time. So I don't really go through withdrawals, because if I want to play, I'll play. Suppose I'm up till 5 a.m.
Yeah. I'll say for me, I never want to play a game more than when I can't, if that makes sense. So if I'm like out of town and I can't play, that's when I'm like dying to play.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't have the option to play. But then there's so many times where I get home and I'll like look through games on Xbox or PlayStation, and I'm like, what do I want to play? And then I get to the point where I'm about to commit, and I'm just like, I don't really want to play that either. you know?
Yeah.
But there are some games that I just love going back to at almost any point. So, MLB The Show is one of those. Or if I get really hooked on a game story-wise, I remember when I played Rise of the Tomb Raider, I couldn't put that down. Sunset Overdrive, same thing. And there's lots of other games that fall in that category for me. But yeah, like when I don't have the option to play, then I'm just like, I just want to do this more than anything right now. So I get it. And if you're like out of town, that kind of sucks if gaming's part of your sort of routine for unwinding or whatever. But I don't know. How about you, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, now with the Switch, you can take that with you, and like I've had a 3DS forever, and I always bring them with me on like trips or whatever, and I never really play them. I end up reading more because it gives me time to catch up on my reading. But I'll tell you though, when Persona 5 came out, I was like 14 to 18 hours into the game, and the game's like 80 hours long, and my PlayStation 4 stopped working. So for 2 weeks, I was trying to get that damn thing fixed, and I was like pissed off at the world because I could not play Persona 5 because my PlayStation 4 wasn't working. It was because the hard drive got corrupted or something. So I tried replacing it, and it wouldn't accept the BIOS file that I downloaded off the computer. I was mad, and I was like, fuck this. I just took it to GameStop, sold it for the not working price, and they took like $80 off, and just bought a new PlayStation 4 just so I could continue my playthrough of Persona 5. So when I'm like Tyler, when I want to play something really badly, then I get withdrawals. But like on trips, because like him, I have a lot of times where I look and there's nothing I want to play, and I'm like, but so on trips, it doesn't really bother me unless I'm gone when a big release comes out that I can't play, like a God of War or a Persona 5 or something like that.
Yeah. All right. What else?
All right. Dylan B. from Discord asks, do you listen to music while you play single-player games?
I'll go ahead and go first. I don't. When I want to listen to something while I'm playing a game, I normally listen to podcasts, honestly. So that's me. I don't listen to music too often. Graham, you might be a little different on this.
Yes. Well, there's times when I want to listen to music, but depending on the game, like if I'm doing like a shooter or something like that, then that's something where music can drown out the game. But usually first person, if there's like talking or any story or something like that, like I totally want to engulf myself into the game. But like games like Skate 3 and Skate 2 or whatever like that, like those just because they do have a game soundtrack, but you can turn that down and you play your own music over it. So certain games, yes. One of the things that I really love about the I would say Fallout franchise, but I don't know how long, but for the latest Fallout games is that they actually have a radio with radio stations and you can listen to that stuff. So when I'm playing those types of games, then I don't require music in the background. But like I have like a nice headset that you can like link through Bluetooth to like my iPhone or whatever. So sometimes I will play music in the background, and like Rocket League is another example of a game where you could just have music playing in the background. So yeah, it just depends on the game, but I love listening to music, and if there's a way I can listen to music and play, I will.
Yeah, for me, I can't even play games while being in party chat because I get distracted too easy, and I don't want to miss anything in the story. So no, I do not listen to music because I just don't want to miss anything. And like the only games I'll listen to something are like the sports titles and or like if I'm playing Call of Duty online. But even then, it's like I'd prefer just listening to the game sounds and like getting involved. So no, I don't listen to music while playing single
plus,
player
I
games.
so often play with my headset on that it makes the music kind of a moot point anyway.
That's true.
But all right, so we got time for one more question if we can keep the answers fairly short. So go ahead.
All right. So our last question then will be I'm trying to find a shorter one. Let's see here. Okay, what is the best mobile game? Also from Dylan B. What is the best mobile game of all time?
Oh man,
Best mobile game of all time.
Yeah.
I'll pick one that I spent the most hours and enjoyed the most, although I don't play it anymore right now, probably because it just consumed too much of my time and money. But that is The Simpsons Tapped Out. I'm a huge Simpsons fan, like classic Simpsons. I haven't watched it in a while, but I absolutely loved that game when I played it. The nostalgia just poured out of that game, like when you had your stone cutters and just like little quests and stuff like that based on the game, and like how they tied the game into like newer episodes, which I didn't really watch. I think I might have watched one or two because of what they announced in the game. But yeah, that was the game that I put the most time into it. Now, I'll tell you a series that's great though is the Room series on the iPad. That game is amazing. I love those games.
Okay. So I was thinking through it, and then I was like, wait, there's kind of an obvious answer to this.
Candy Crush.
Candy Crush. Yeah.
Yeah. It really is. So I'm going to say that, but I'm going to say also Pokemon Go and Fortnite.
Yes. Never played Fortnite. I don't know how that.
Well, I haven't played it, but
Curious.
look at what it's done already.
Yeah.
And it's so mobile games are great if they're easily accessible to anybody, in terms of play style.
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon Go was that in every way. Candy Crush is that in every way, right? So that's what sets those games apart, I think. Steve, how about you?
Honestly, the best game of all time would be the Infinity Blade games on the it was only on the Apple products.
Mm-hmm.
They were pretty good games. With cool stories and cool premises, but I think Candy Crush overall still beats everything, just be how addicting it made and how much money it made for the company, because everyone and their mothers, and I mean that in literally
yes.
played that game.
And don't forget games like Angry Birds and stuff like that too, which remember took everything by storm for a kind of short period of time, but they did.
All right.
So all right. Yeah, go ahead.
So we'll have one more then, I guess.
Okay.
Blake. He said, have you all ever thought of doing a spoiler cast for big releases? And I think we kind of hit this last week, but just to clear that up again, we do. We are going to start doing spoiler casts for big games and maybe even movies if you guys are interested in them. So look for that in the coming weeks. But I think our first game is going to be, what did we decide on? Detroit Becoming Human?
Yeah, Detroit Become Human.
I thought State of Decay 2.
Or State of Decay 2. One of those two will be the first one we do.
Yeah.
And so just so everybody knows, like, when we do like spoiler casts or movie casts or things like that, it might not be a situation where it's all three of us on that episode.
I could be trapped in a windstorm.
You could be. But
it's happened once. It could happen again.
So when we start doing supplemental material and supplemental, content, like we want to do that for everybody because we're getting the questions now about, when can we get more stuff, things like that, which is awesome. We appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
But it might not be all three of us. All three of us might not be able to play through, Detroit by a certain time.
Yep.
So it might just be 2, but we're still going to make sure it's good, and we'll still make sure that, it kind of meets what you're looking for.
Yeah, and we want you guys to be a part of those too. So asking questions and like letting us know your thoughts on that. So we'll give you it's not going to be 3 days after the game comes out.
Mm-hmm.
We'll give a few weeks so you guys can play through and then ask questions based on that. And we want it to be a community thing. We do this for you guys, and we want the community involved. So I'm looking forward to starting this up. I hope you guys are as well.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
We got to get out of here. We're out of time.
All right.
So again, if you're listening to us on Dash Radio, thank you. Join our community by heading on over to Facebook, going to the Gaming Hub forums. You can follow us on Twitter at TXH Gaming Hub. You can go on to Twitch. Somebody did that just a few minutes ago. And follow us there, TXH Gaming Hub on Twitch. When you're there, you can click on the link for Discord and join our Discord group. Really easy way to communicate quickly and kind of stay up to speed with what's going on in our community. So with that, thank you so much for joining us for episode number 94 of the Gaming Hub. We really appreciate you joining us. We'll be back next week with episode 95. So for Graham and Steve, I'm Tyler saying thank you. We'll talk to you next week. Have a great week, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care, everyone.